Okay, so it seems that we're actually seeing yet another Pokemon market spike happening right now. And honestly, this is just crazy because I know who expected that this would happen so quickly. Though I'm just wondering if 2026 will be one of the biggest years for Pokemon cards because we've had Pokemon Pocopia release, which is massive. Like it's one of the first times I've ever seen physical copies sold out for a Nintendo game. That's unheard of for video games. That happened way in the past. That doesn't happen in modern times. So, and I just have this feeling that like the audience who love Pokemon Pocopia, they would also love collecting Pokemon cards. So I'm seeing a little bit of a link and a crossover there with the audiences. So we would be having a huge new audience entering right now, which is massive. But then we also have Pokemon Champions, which is about to release. So then we have the whole competitive scene for Pokemon. That's about to get a standalone game. And then of course we have Pokemon Winds and Waves releasing next year. So because of all this, I just think we're seeing the cards go through a massive spike in price. And honestly, when we look at what's actually happening in the market, there's some seriously big movers right now. All right, let's go. Bubble Mew, the big one. The card that pretty much has made, well, the Scarlet and Violet era, it's one of the biggest cards for that era, massive grail for modern Pokemon collecting. I just want to take you through here and we can see in July last year was selling for $298. And then what's really important, we can see the market high in September of last year for $698 US. Then of course we had that Pokemon correction that happened at the end of last year, and a lot of people, including myself, we thought, hey, Pokemon cards maybe until the 30th anniversary, that's when Pokemon cards will start spiking again. And then that correction played out, and you can see how low or how much the Bubble Mew dropped from that price point, was selling for $700 US. Then in February of this year, selling for $461. So definitely that's a pretty big crash, right? That a lot of value got wiped off from that Bubble Mew, but we can see right now it is really climbing. The Bubble Mew is currently selling for $692, and it looks like it's about to surpass its previous high of $700 US. You know, this is crazy because when people were thinking, hey, if this is going to be a bit of a quiet time, no, Pokemon cards are being resilient. And this has just taken a lot of people by surprise. I don't think people expected a bounce back that quickly. I think people care now more about holding what means a lot to them now than they ever did before, and Pokemon is a part of that. And I think it had such a significant impact on a lot of people growing up, and we can really see that with how much people value the collectibles. They really are, like I said, in a league of their own. Now, moving on to one that I found interesting as well is the Ascended Heroes Pokemon Center Elite Trainer Box. Was selling for $184 US, and right now we can see Ascended Hero Elite Trainer Box is selling for $357. Yes, this is the Pokemon Center version, but you can really see those Pokemon Center products, they don't muck around. It's no joke. And what's even more wild than this is Ascended Heroes this is such a new set. This is brand new, and we can really see the market demand for Ascended Heroes is insane. And if you are new to this world of Pokemon, these early sets that release early in the year, the early specialty sets, literally for the last 4 years now, they've been incredible. From Crown Zenith in 2023, Paldean Fates in 2024, then you had Prismatic Evolutions in January of 2025, and now we've had the early 2026 set with Ascended Heroes. They're just really good sets. So I think if you are looking in the long term for 2027, 2028, be prepared for these early sets because Pokemon seems to have a theme where they really like to deliver and do a real big celebration to start the year. They really like setting up the year right with these sets. Though, like I said, there you go, $357 for the Pokemon Center Elite Trainer Box. Also, hey, I just want to say, if it is your first time here, welcome to the channel. My name's Phil, and if you do like to keep up to date with the world of Pokemon, definitely feel free to subscribe. It's always great seeing new people on the channel. But when we're looking at some of the chase cards in Ascended Heroes, or what we can pull, the Mega Dragonite, here you go, when it released, it did drop to $478, which I don't know if we can even consider that a drop in any way. That's an expensive special illustration rare. But if we look right now, the Mega Dragonite SIR is selling for $679. Yes, this is early days. Yes, we're in early, like Ascended Heroes has a long journey ahead. Prismatic Evolutions also had, it's very important to know, and I'll show you that in a second, Prismatic Evolutions early days also had rises like this, and then it dropped much later in the year. I do imagine with Ascended Heroes, with these special illustration rares, they will see a pretty big price drop towards the end of the year because like right now it's early days. But yeah, I mean the Dragonite right now is at a crazy price point. Same thing with the Pikachu EX as well. We can see it was selling for $477 and right now in the market selling for $556. So the crazy thing about Ascended Heroes is it's not just one or two special illustration rares. You got a lot of expensive cards in this set and the market is really, really a big fan of it as well. I think Ascended Heroes is one of the best sets we've had probably in the last 2 or 3 years. It's really, really high quality. And of course, the roster of the special illustration rares is incredible. Like when we talk about investing in collectibles and a lot of the sets, what matters a lot is what Pokemon are inside the set. When you look at Ascended Heroes, Metagross, Dragonite, Gengar, Feraligatr, Meganium, Emboar, man, you have got, like that's just off the top of my head, the amount of amazing and popular Pokemon within Ascended Heroes, it's a real winning set already. Now moving on to the Phantasmal Flames Charizard, the Mega Charizard X, did find a low in the market for $439. And honestly, now if we look at the price, currently selling for $819. I think late last year when it was selling for that $430 range, it's probably the cheapest you would ever be able to pick up this special illustration rare. It is just such a good card. I really wanted to pick it up. Now I'm looking at it and I'm like, I still want to get it in my collection. This is one card I'm really, really keen on. But then again, I'd love to get this one in PSA 10. But I'm just quickly going to move to the PSA 10 price points. And I can see right now the PSA 10 is currently selling for $2,435 for a PSA 10, which is definitely a big price jump from that raw copy. Now, moving on to the Umbreon Special Illustration Rare, right now in the market, selling for $1,300. That is insane. If we look at that correction that we saw earlier last year, this card was selling for $857. What a big increase in price. And if I could actually even go a little bit back further, you would know that this card did have a market high for $1,600. So it did have a pretty significant drop in price from those early day price points. But hey, I mean, this Umbreon right now, I think that what we can see at 1.3K, there is room for it to grow as well because it is such an in-demand Pokemon card. Now, moving on, we have a bit of a Charizard spike happening as well. We've got the Paldean Fates Charizard, had a market high for $315, did drop down to $203, and right now, Paldean Fates Charizard selling for $256, has had a little bit of a market bounce back, and we can see that across the board. Pokemon cards are now going through a wave, and that's how it works. It's waves, right? Sometimes it's going down in price, but now that everything's picking up again, people are now bullish again on these singles, and of course, the first things that move are those popular Pokemon, the Charizards, the Pikachus. They really start moving in the market as soon as some hype starts building. And right now, it's a questionable time for this hype period as well, because what is causing it? Is Pokemon Pokopia bringing in a lot of people? I wouldn't say that this market spike is because of Pokopia, because I just don't think, like, this is more, like, to get to this level of collecting, you're not going to just be buying a Nintendo Switch 2 game and then saying, hey, I'm going to now spend $1,300 on an Umbreon, or I'm going to spend $800 on a new Pokemon card. Usually the people that are buying those real expensive chase cards have been in the game for a while. At least that they like, it's very hard to make that kind of thing like, oh, I'm interested in Pokemon cards. Oh, you know what? Yeah, easy. I'm going to spend $2,000 on a card. That doesn't usually happen. It takes a bit of time to get there. So I'm just interested to know what's causing this spike, and like, I'd love to know what you guys think is causing this spike right now, because I am actually lost for words why this is happening. This is such an interesting time in the hobby. Same thing with the Obsidian Flames Charizard. Was selling for around $68, right now selling for $108. Pretty significant percentage increase. And also, hey, if you do want to connect with the Pokemon community, my channel's Discord is actually a really great way to do that, because there's over 11,000 active members and you can just ask a heap of questions. The Discord invite is in the video's description. Now, one that I'm really liking is the Mewtwo from Crown Zenith. Now, this card found a bit of a low point for $158. And right now, the Mewtwo is selling for $240 US. And what is crazy about this is this has now become the top chase card of Crown Zenith, just by a little bit, but it actually has become the top chase card. Because if we look here, the Giratina V-Star was the previous runner of the most expensive card from Crown Zenith, was selling for $175 US, right now selling for $230. So that Mewtwo is just ahead by a little bit, which is pretty wild, man, because wow, like Mewtwo has just taken the spotlight from Giratina, and this is a little bit harder to pull as well. The Crown Zenith seems to be actually going up as well, and I feel like a lot of people are thinking because 151 had that spike, I think a lot of eyes are now turning to Crown Zenith. If we look at the Elite Trainer boxes, we're selling in November last year for $197. Right now, the ETB selling for $309 US. That is a market high for Crown Zenith. In the last year, that's a market high, and in history, that's the highest price we've ever seen for the Elite Trainer box, which is wild, man. Like it is a fantastic set. It is one of my favorite Pokemon sets ever released. Did make a video a few years back talking about the 10 greatest Pokemon sets ever created. Crown Zenith is in the top 3. I really love this set. There's a lot of positives you can say about this set. I'm not that surprised to see it going up in price, but maybe the speed that it's going up, yeah, that is surprising me. We can even see the Pikachu Secret Rare has reached a new market high for $56 US, which is wild because last year, this was selling for $15. So yes, Pokemon cards do climb up quite substantially when they start climbing up, and that is the thing as well. Some cards are always undervalued. This was probably undervalued for a while. A lot of people knew that this Pikachu in particular was at a good price point for a long time. It did have a bit of a rise to $39 and then it kind of dropped back down. I do think with how quick it spiked to 56, it just depends where it's going to really end up because like I said, right now it's 56 US. Will it start coming down? Who knows? And another one to look out for is the Sleeping Mew from Crown Zenith as well. Had a low for around, if we look there, 26 US. Right now this is at a market high for $61. So yeah, Crown Zenith is really heating up at the moment. Pokemon 151 just had its thing. Looks like Crown Zenith this is definitely the set you want to be looking out for right now. But yeah, I mean, as much as the market's moving, I think it's important to understand that Pokemon cards have changed a lot recently, and the exact changes that have happened can be seen in this video on screen right here. Within this video on screen, I go into what's actually changed for Pokemon cards recently. If you enjoyed this video, you're going to love the next one. Really appreciate you watching. Click the next video that's appearing on screen, and I'll see you on the next video.